Welcome to It's Lainie! Yes! Victory is mine! I scaled the mountain and now I stand here, naked from the waist up, and also the waist down. Who's here? Me, motherfuckers! Who am I? I'm a gal. You're here, I'm here. Let's do this shit. I'm excited to be with you today. Today, I am going to talk in my rant about my butthole. I'm going to be honest with you. It's about my butthole and it's about pooping. I should really warn them up top. So I'm going to talk about pooping out of my butthole. Also talking about laundry chutes, one of the most invigorating aspects of a home. They really take you on a tunnel to majesty. Of course, I'm going to give you the motherfucking question. Every week, we're going to talk about the motherfucking question. And this week, there is intrigue. There is rigor mortis. Oh boy. And there is sex. I think it is implied. The sex is, oh my God, that's like the least sex. No, that is hot, but that's hot. All right. Well, this week, the show is brought to you by Heaven Mattresses. Heaven, for when you aren't going anywhere else. You get the idea because heaven is good and the mattress is good. All right, well, this is It's Lainie. Let's get it poppin'. I do not like apple pie, which is confusing because I keep trying to eat it because I'm like, what could possibly be wrong with a dessert? Like, it's pie. But it's just so slimy. It's so slimy. It doesn't taste like apples. It tastes like stewed sugar. And I don't like it. I don't like fruit pies. I just don't like fruit pies. I like pumpkin pie and pecan pie. That is what I like. And maybe sweet potato pie. That would be good. But no apple pie. It's disgusting. It's like somebody served you. I want to put this delicately, so let me say this. It's like if somebody served you like a shell of cardboard covered in maggots. I hate it. I don't like it. And then they put more cardboard on top and they were like, isn't it beautiful? And I was like, is this Halloween? Because I trick or treat, bitch. This is a trick. I'm not having any of that, you know? You invited me to your house for a nice time and this is how you treat your guests? Go fuck yourself. I'm going to take a huge shit in your bathroom and I am going to leave you to figure it out. I'm going to flush it and it's going to be not visible, but it's still going to be in there kind of stuck. So the next time you use the bathroom, it immediately overflows, even though you can't see what's going to happen. You know what? Yes, Erin, you're nodding. You get it. Man, I do need my listeners to know because I kind of just, I want to know. You know what? I take abnormally large shits and it has become an issue. Like when I was a teenager, like it made problems for my family. Like it was a family-wide problem how big my shits are. I take the biggest shits of anybody in the world, and here's how I will explain it to you. And this is the thing, too. I feel like there are probably a lot of people out there, like big men, who are like, oh, no, you do not. And I would invite them. I would welcome them. Please, I beg of you, take a look at my shit and see if you can maintain that. Because sometimes I turn around and I look at it and I'm like, emotionally traumatized by what came out of me because I see it and I'm like, there's literally not enough room in my body for that. And I'm kind of a bigger lady, like maybe not bigger, but I'm like, I was going to say hefty. I'm hefty. You know, how do I describe this in a way that doesn't sound like I'm insulting myself? I'm not petite. How about that? I'm not petite in any sense of the word. Like what is petite? Like short or small frame? Anyway. The point is, if you take a shit that's a foot long, is that weird, Erin? Oh. And I have to say this, it's very girthy. It's so it's a marvel to behold, but that's the thing. That's the thing about this secret shame is that I can't show it to anybody, but it is miraculous. It's like insane. And I'm looking at it like, am I really seeing this right now? Are you for real? But I don't have anybody to show it to because you can't take a picture of your poop and show it to other people because I knew people who did that and it was disgusting. And so it's like, listen, I really want to do that. I always want to take a picture and send it to my sisters, but I'm like, I don't want to do that to them. That's not fun for them. It's just fun for me. And then I have to feel bad about something that's not fun for them. So I'll send them an article about my favorite pants later, you know? And so, okay, so that gives you a framework for understanding the shits. And let me explain to you how I came to understand this about myself. Because of course, you don't realize anything's weird about yourself until other people look at you like, what the fuck? And then you're like, listen, I'm just dropping a deuce casually. I don't know why we got to be weird about it. Everybody takes poops. And they're like, wow, but usually they don't require plumbing work afterwards, which I would say maybe There was shoddy plumbing to begin with, because it seems like a 15-year-old girl, a 12-year-old girl should not be able to wreck a toilet so badly that you have to leave an open house. That's all I'm saying. And I did that, and a lot. I did it many times in that home. Let me explain. So when I was 12, my mom married my stepdad. I am from Minnesota. We moved to Illinois, where his job is. He lived kind of out in the boonies. So we were going to move into a different house altogether where, they had a good school system. It was close to his job, everything like that, right? So, coming together in this house. Wow, okay. And you're a kid, so you're just like, whatever, all right. And so we're looking at houses. I think they've chosen one that they really like at this point. So they, took us with, or we happened to be in the car or something. I think they took us with, and it was like, let's go check out the house. So, and the thing is, in my family, we go to a lot of open houses. Like my mom really, it's like an activity that we do. Also, my mom bought a lot of houses when I was young. Like we moved constantly. So it was very normal to me to be in an open house. Or I had at least a frame of reference for it, So we go into this open house. I'm 12. So we look around all the rooms. What color are the walls? The basement is carpeted. Oh, interesting. It kind of smells like their previous pets, but that's not an issue. You could change the carpet, whatever. And then I am like, I have to go to the bathroom. So I go so I'm like, let's try out the facilities. You know what I mean? Because it's like a first date with a house is when you use the bathroom there, right? It's like a meet cute, or it's like a blind date because it's vulnerable, and also that other people are going to want to know what happened. Other people are involved in the experience. It's a little bit self-conscious because that they're like, ooh, how did it go? Oh yeah, very convenient, right? What a spacious, because you're going to come out and they're going to say, amazing shower, right? Or don't you love the tile? And you're going to have to tell them, I destroyed it with my feces. So I'm a 12-year-old girl. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And I was like, oh my, and then I had that nervousness, like, oh my God, this isn't my house. I don't want to poop here. Everybody's here. Oh my God, public pooping, that's the worst, but I really, really have to go. And so, in my head, I'm talking myself down like, you know what? It's not that weird. Everybody has to go to the bathroom. We are in a house with a bathroom. The car does not have a bathroom. Just go to the bathroom. Don't be an insane person. Be appropriate. Spray the spray. Do whatever you can. But you got to use the bathroom. That's not weird, right? So then I go to use the bathroom. I come back out. I go about my business. And I think I went out to the car and I don't remember exactly what happened. Maybe my family knew I had to go to the bathroom. I think maybe they did. But I go out to the car after we've kind of looked at the house, and my family comes out and my stepdad looks at me and he's like, well, you really wrecked that toilet, huh? Really trying out the new house. And I don't even know. I wish I had a sharper memory on this because I do not know. I think maybe it was just so aggressive that he could just sense it. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't see it, but he could sense it. Like he walked into the room and he was like, something is not right here. Something has been destroyed. Some innocence is lost. She has defiled this room. Now we must cleanse it with sheep's blood before we can move in to occupy this shit factory. Because essentially, I think he came out and he said, wow, you really made yourself at home right away, didn't you? And I was like, ha, ha, ha. We're making fun of me and like, you got me, So the whole family's making fun of me and I'm like, you got me. It's not polite, but it was an emergency, whatever. So cut to, a year or two later, we're living in the house and my stepdad is getting used to having 3 teenage daughters. Previous to that, he was like a 40-year-old man that was living by himself out in the boonies, didn't have any contact with children. So it was quite an adjustment, know I'm saying? And so he's living with these 3 teenage girls and he's like, why are there bobby pins everywhere? Why is every light in the house turned on no matter if anybody's in a room or not? Why is there constant cackling? Like, he hated Gilmore Girls because he was like, all I can hear is babbling and cackling, and it drove him nuts. But he always plays the terrifying, upsetting news at a blaringly loud volume, even when he's not in the room. So it's also like, well, what the fuck do we have to listen to this horrible murder thing about it? Why do we have to sit in a dark house listening to murder stories while you make mashed potatoes? You know what I mean? You can't be a serial killer anymore. This is what's happening now. Family, bitch. You got it. You're in or you're out. So are you in or are you out, man? Because we got to jump you in or out either way. And if we're jumping you out, we're murdering you with not only with our Katniss crossbows, as well as our feces throwing monkeys who we employ to discard our waste, which actually is a strong environmental move. On my part, I am an activist. I pay the monkeys minimum wage. And to be fair, their hours are minimal. You know, they're not even part-time. It's just kind of on an as-needed basis for extra pocket money. But, you know, baboons got to buy vests. You know, a monkey needs a fez. Sometimes you got to get a banana, or you got to get a hula skirt to do a fun tiki dance to be so cute. And they always run through all their money immediately spending it on diapers. You know what I'm saying? Bubbles, Michael Jackson's primate. You know, just millions of dollars invested in Pampers. You know what I'm saying? Because they really can wreck a diaper as well, and I respect that. So, man, this is really not going to play well with people who don't like talking about this. But let me really wrap up this story. So cut to 2 years later, when we're living in this house, my stepdad is acclimating to having a family. Our family is acclimating to having a stepdad. So there are a lot of kinks to work out. For example, we may have, did you know that when you leave bobby pins in your pocket when you're doing laundry, it'll spin out with the water in the dryer, get into the inner workings of the machine, and then destroy it immediately? You did know that. Well, at the age of 12, I, of course, did not. And we just threw all our laundry down the laundry chute. And, you know, so sometimes you forget that. Also, can I just say how magical a laundry chute is? It's like the looking glass for poor people. You know what I'm saying? It's the best. It was the most glamorous, even though they're gross and they usually go, I wish I had a laundry chute right fucking now. Literally, okay. We need to write this down on my dream list of how to be an adult. I need a laundry chute. I need a laundry chute. I love it. It's a window to a basement of excitement. So it's like having a tree house or like a clubhouse or like a special window into a different room, and you can yell at people through it. And it's so useful because if your sister's downstairs, you can go in, put your head in the laundry chute and be like, Diane. And then she'll come, then she'll be, no, it's coming from the laundry chute. And she'll go, what? And then I'll be like, come over here. And then she'll come in and she can look up at your face and you can be like, you're a bitch. And she could be like, okay, word, bye. It's an entryway into an enchanted forest, and this is what happens. You know, Alice through the looking glass. She steps into a mirror. She's in a mirror world. What the fuck? Can you imagine? You go into the bathroom that you destroyed before we even owned the house, which, by the way, I was at the time proud of because I knew it was a power move. And it was done just out of desperation because I really had to go to the bathroom. But also what happened is I showed up with my parents who were going to be buying a house. So we go to this open house. They're just like, oh, we'll bring our 3 daughters and look at this house to see if we could build a life together. So that looks probably sweet. I come in. They're like, this is Lainie. I'm like, what up, bro? Where's the shitter? I walk in. I need to use the can. I go in there, drop a deuce, walk out and say, I don't even know if we're going to buy this place. I just like to show you it's mine. You know, it was very terrible. I didn't mean it that way intellectually, but as soon as I did it, I was like, all right, well, we have to live here now. That was definitely the thought I had. I was like, all right, well, I took a shit here now. It's real, baby. This is happening. And that's how to accept your stepfather. So the laundry chute is a magical portal into the basement where you can call down to your sister and be like, hey, and she'll be like, what? And then she'll realize you're talking through the laundry chute, and she'll come in, stand above the laundry pile, stare up at you. You put your head into the little laundry chute, and you see all the disgusting cobwebs and like the gross drippy places in the basement, but you're upstairs in the clean part. So you still get to yell through the fun tunnel, but you don't have to be in the gross dungeon. And then she comes over and she's in the gross dungeon, and you look at her and you're like, I'm better than you. And she's like, word, well, I'll be in the bathroom soon. And I'll be like, no, you won't, because I took a gigantic dump. Deal with the consequences. Okay. So it's 2 years later. We are living in the house. We are acclimating to the state of our family. This results in a lot of rules that seem like they should be intuitive, but we are not meshing. But we think I was not used to having any men in my life. So it was like, what? I don't even understand what you're asking me to do. Why would I do this? Which is something I've noticed a lot recently. I was hanging with my dude and he was making sandwiches and he looked up at me just casually. And they weren't sandwiches, they were paninis. It was like we thawed the chicken. We mixed up the guacamole. Like it was the whole 9 yards. And he's going to put them in the oven to like roast or whatever fancy thing, people do. And, he casually looked up at me and was like, yo, how many sandwiches do you want? So that means in his head, it would be logical if I ate 2 or 3 sandwiches. So that means if I ever am at a function or at a relative's house or something, and they look at me and they're like, how many sandwiches do you want? And if I eat 1, I don't feel self-conscious about it because they already asked me how many. So it's like, you probably already powerhoused 2 of them. You slammed them down your damn gullet. So I'm not going to feel bad about eating a sandwich and putting a lot of mayonnaise on it. Like, I don't have to be embarrassed because they eat multiple sandwiches is what I'm saying. Because also, that's the thing. That's probably part of the thing about the huge shits is that I can put it away. But it's like, it's not polite for women to eat like that in public. You know what I mean? Aaron, would you say that you have any opinions or do you notice, like, if a woman's really chowing down, like at a party or just casual, like a friend, whatever? What's a lot? That's a great question. What would be noticeable to you? Because I don't know what a lot is, but I'm self-conscious about it. So it's like, I don't want to feel fat if we're eating in public, which is shitty. I wish I didn't have that, and I try not to, but I'm hungry all the time, and I really get it in there. I get it in. But what if it was like really big and I ate the whole thing? Okay, great. I love that that doesn't faze you. You wouldn't notice it. Would you notice it? Or mostly for me, I would be concerned about the meat. But you know what? I'm always concerned about the meat. Up top, my man. Fist bump. Yes. Lainie Leonard's worried about the meat. Heart squeeze disease. Heart squeeze disease is when it gets real hard to do it on the heart pumping for the blood to go around to make you move well. I'm a registered nurse. I'm a certified licensed registered nurse. Everybody has that friend who you see them eat and you're like, get your shit together. That's not eating. Like, if you're not going to do it right, just don't do it at all. I think we've talked about this before when people say like, oh, I wish I could just take a pill. We've talked about that. Yeah, you brought it up to me and I also hated it and we bonded, Aaron, and now we're best friends and we've done a sacred blood ritual, which we never talk about. They're coming for us. Satan has emerged to walk the earth. Quick, get the goats, Aaron. Get the goats. I'll get the knives. And also, everybody show their breasts to the Dark Lord. Thank you. Aaron's taking off his shirt. Yes. Round of applause. The crowd goes wild. We are hot and Satanists. Yes. The Church of Satan. Get into it, buddy. That's why I take such big dumps. Satan himself imbued me with the power of a football player's sphincter. And Lewis Carroll invented the laundry chute. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Lewis Carroll invented the laundry chute. It's an amazingly whimsical thing to have in your house. I demand it. And I expect that by next week, somebody will have installed one for me. I don't know how they're going to get into my house. I don't care. This is a secret portal. If you know how to make one, you know how to come into my house. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can be on this plane of existence. So don't even fuck with me like that. I deserve this. That being said, we're 2 years into living in the house. We're all getting used to it. We have all these new rules, like nobody can use bobby pins anymore, or you have to clean the hair out of the shower, which is a pretty normal one, but we just hadn't thought about it before because our hair got everywhere because we have a lot of women in the house. So one of the rules that came to pass, that was decreed, was sort of an involved rule about how I had to use the bathroom. So what happened was I started overflowing the toilets with such frequency that my stepdad was so frustrated to the point of saying, you know that you're supposed to flush more than once, like do some of it and then flush and then do more of it and then flush if you like 2 or 3 times. And I was like, listen, I can't control the shits that my butt makes. You know, man, like, you don't know me like that, dude. You're my new stepdad. You don't know shit about my sphincter. All I'm saying to you is that this came out of my body. This is a normal situation where you go into the bathroom, you sit down, you take a dump, you flush the toilet, you go on with your business. Maybe you have to spray some stuff or like whatever. But what was happening to me in both the upstairs and the downstairs basement, which tells me that it maybe wasn't the toilet. It may be. Yeah, I don't know that I have. Okay, let me say this. It tells me that it wasn't the toilet, and I have done enough field research to know that it wasn't the toilet specifically in that house either. So, which I will describe as the denouement. So, I know I'm different because the rule, I am different. The rule first of all, the rule was only for me, number one. And let's get to number two, ladies and gentlemen, because we all know that that's where the real meat is at. Hell yeah, let's put that in the theme music. Do it up. That's part of the theme music. No, you're right. I'm not the shit-stained comedian. It's not going to be Skid Mark Lainie, okay? We're going to get into that. We could do like bleeding nipples Lainie or something, but let's not get too grotesque. Grotesque womanhood, baby. So the rule was I'm supposed to flush multiple times at various points throughout depositing my gift to the world. The problem with that is that, first of all, I was 12, so I was like, excuse me? I don't even know you, dude. Who the fuck are you? Why are you in my house? Number two, it doesn't feel good to your butthole or natural to like pinch it off midstream when you're having a real good one, when you're laying a real egg. And so it doesn't make any sense because it just doesn't come out of your body that way. So my thing was, I don't know what else I can do, man. I just take shits and then the toilet stops working. I don't know how to help you, dude. I'm trying to do that. I am trying to do that, but it's very difficult. And also my butt keeps making huge poops, buddy. And it was crazy because he marries into this family and he's a very large, bachelor living in the middle of the woods, just eating meat and potatoes, and comes from farm country in Iowa. And then all of a sudden, but the issue in the house is not that he is uncouth. It's that the 12-year-old keeps ruining the toilets with her monster dumps. So it made me a poop villain. It definitely did. And I will tell you, like I said, as the denouement, I have since done continuing unplanned research on this topic, spontaneous research, if you will, because the number of toilets I have clogged at parties is upsetting. It's almost got to a level where I was like, I'm not going to a party because I will clog the toilet. It never got quite to there, but it's that bad. So what I'm saying to you, what I say to ye, unto ye, is never underestimate anybody. You don't know what they're capable of. You got to keep an eye on people because you don't know. Like, you may think you know the person, you know the outside, but you don't know what's going to come out. You really don't know what the result will be, and you really don't know if it's going to fuck up your mortgage. So, Lainie Leonards ruins house payments with butthole, ruins lives with mouth, ruins dicks with her pussy. What's that? No, that's not good. Okay, don't say that. Lainie, bye. Don't associate that with what we just talked about. But let me tell you, I could win a state fair for sure. You know what I mean? Where they have competitions like biggest pumpkin or sassiest sheep or whatever, however they grade cows. I don't know how they do it. Like, your haunches are supple or whatever the fuck they do. I could win being like, she is excellent at fertilizing. She's independently fertilized 17 acres of corn with her magical leavings. So basically, I am a shit wizard destined for a life on the other side of the laundry chute. So think about that. Think about that every day, and think about how you can achieve your personal best and get through to the other side, because we all want to live where the dirty laundry is. This week, our sponsor is Heaven Mattresses, and I have been loving mattresses lately because it is one of the only luxuries that I have as an adult, because I don't have enough money to have like fancy things, but I do have enough money to not sleep on the floor. So I'm at a really in-between place in my life. So like when I get a nice bed, I feel like I am literally a queen. You know what I'm saying? And I had a real tragedy this week because I broke my bed frame again, and I've been doing it for maybe years. But I thought it was because the bed frames were shitty because I was getting them from IKEA, and those are shitty, you know? And then I got a new one and I broke it immediately. And I was like, well, fuck. This was like the first adult thing I've really done. Like I moved into my new apartment. I got this bed all set up. I got all new, coverings, the sheets and the duvet cover and the pillowcases. And I got everything and I laundered it and I set up the bed myself. I built the bed frame myself because it was one of those things, and I had it delivered, and I was like, this is a thing that I was also moving, and I had just had a breakup. So I was like, nobody can fucking help me. Like, I'm going to do this shit by myself. Even though I was like, I don't feel like it. Can somebody just fucking help me? But I was like, you know what? Don't manipulate a man into building something for you because you can already build it. So just nut up and do it. You know, you're just being kind of petty because, you know, you could do it by kind of implying sex. Honestly, I could get so many shelves installed that way. So anyway, I was like, God damn, this is the first adult thing that I did. You know what I mean? And I just recently realized that I'm an adult. I'm 28. It literally took me this long. And there is no joke to that. It took me this long. And so it's like, now what do I got to do? Like, I have to take control of my life in order to do it right. You know, I have to have a job and take care of my siblings and maybe have children. You know, if there's something goes wrong or there's an accident with my sperm that's inside me and where it came from, who knows? But I have to be an adult now. So the second I get an adult, when people say this is why we can't have nice things, I find that phrase very annoying. But what I will say is, this is why you don't look cool when you're trying to keep up with the Joneses. Nope, that doesn't make any sense. Here's what I'm saying. I tried to do one adult thing for one time in my life to feel luxury, and it broke immediately. So I have been checking out beds. I have been looking at new beds, and our sponsor this week is Heaven Mattresses. So I am excited to introduce them because I have been through the ringer on this. I do not know how to choose a mattress because clearly they fall apart the second I touch them. I have a curse. So I needed them to clarify the air and cast out the bad spirits. So Heaven Mattresses is our sponsor for this week. So I'm going to tell you what that is. Heaven is a bed delivery service with a unique approach to comfort. With Heaven, your mattresses are designed by experts in ergonomics and kinesiology with your needs in mind specifically. For example, if you have a bad back, their Tough Love mattress offers both support and luxury. If you suffer from night blindness, their Dreamland package offers night lights and posture correction for joints that are a little bit older. Not to mention the Unholy Matrimony package. It's one of their best sellers. It was featured in 2018 Home and Garden. The package features full lumbar support, convenient delivery, and a fully absorptive mattress cover to sop up the tears of you or your loved ones going through a divorce. To learn more about their customized mattresses, go to www.666.com. To get a free 69-day trial, enter the offer code SHITWIZARD. That's SHITWIZARD. Shit like holy shit, wizard like magic bitch at 666.com. Heaven Mattresses. We'll see you in hell, narcs. Okay, so now it's time for the motherfucking question. Get hyped. Get hyped, boy. Turn up. Turn down for what? Why would you turn down? Where to for? To turn down unto the Fortnite executive. This week's question: how do you feel about Pete and Ariana breaking up? ? So we have just gone through Aaron and I have just gone through a verbal process of recording. Well, we actually researched information about this topic, and probably it was a waste of studio time because I could have just Googled it myself. But honestly, I will say, though, that it does give me a lot of insight when you do it, Aaron, because first of all, it's very fun to ask a question and then have somebody like deliver the answer to you. It's like Ask Jeeves, but in person. And I want to get you a butler outfit. I have been thinking about butler, but I also I said we should get your cat a butler outfit earlier. So I'm into butlers right now. People have been talking to me about butlers a lot, and I like the idea, but it doesn't make sense because that's kind of servitude. Okay, so it doesn't matter. We're not talking about butlers. We're talking about Pete and Ariana breaking up. So here is the running order. Here's the state of affairs as I understand it. Okay, so because I knew about the time when Pete and Ariana got together forward. I didn't understand any of the background. So here's what we discovered together, Aaron and I, while researching the very soul-searching and important topic of Ariana and Pete. So, okay, so for the uninitiated, Pete Davidson is on Saturday Night Live as a, featured performer or whatever. So he famous in that way. Ariana Grande, obviously big pop star. Mac Miller, so just introducing the cast here, Mac Miller, who I didn't know. I guess he's for the young kids, so I don't know, is white. They're all white. Okay. I think they're all white. Are they all white? I don't know. Okay. I think they're all white. Whatever. Mac Miller, rapper, was with Ariana Grande from 2012 to May of 2018. So a 6-year relationship. In the years preceding their break in May of 2018, he had been writing music referencing suicide. So essentially he had been making albums. He had been making albums talking about suicide for like 2 years. So they split May of 2018. Ariana falls off of social media for a little bit. When she comes back, she has purportedly just met Pete Davidson while she was performing at SNL, I assume. And he having been a fan of her music and an admirer of hers from afar, probably, in my mind, realized that he was kind of famous and could now actually approach her because like his like celebrity fuck crush walked into the room and he was like, wait, I could be her side piece, or like, I could shoot my shot. Like her security won't even shoo me away, So honestly, mad props to him on that, but I don't know what happened. Okay. So anyway, here's what happened. Okay. So her and Mac Miller break up. She drops off of social media later in May after a 6-year relationship and whatever breakup they had for whatever reason. She reemerges with a pretty large social media presence talking about the fact that she is now, in us following the story, it's now revealed to us that she is dating Pete Davidson. He met her. He proposed to her on the spot. The first time he met her, he was like, I want to be with you forever. And now they are in love. And we get Instagram pictures of it constantly. Okay, so that's the situation. But there's more. Oh my God, there's more. So recently, Mac Miller, he died of drug use death. And so it is a contentious thing because people blame Ariana for his suicide, to my understanding, or there's some sort of contingency that does. And I mean, I don't really understand what everybody's so upset about because, okay, here's my, okay, so that is the situation. Here is my take on the way people are looking at it. And granted, I don't really understand the way everybody's regarding this because I didn't know all that stuff. So I'm not talking to the super fans who are like talking on message boards about how they feel about Ariana Grande. I'd love to. So reach out to me, Lainie at LainieLeonards.com. Send me some information about Ariana Grande and I will send you a Tootsie Roll. Tootsie Rolls, candy made of tires. Why do we eat them? We fucking don't. Okay, so I just think the whole situation is so weird and kind of fascinating to me because it deals with suicide, which is fascinating to me in most ways because there has been so much suicide in my life. So much, And so honestly, one of the ways that I cope with it is that it probably sounds a little bit creepy, but one of the ways that I cope with it is I just get super casual about it and I talk about it. Sometimes I think like it doesn't bother me because I am trying to protect myself from how much it sucks when another person dies. But it's like especially hard on people, of course, when it's suicide, because everybody blames themselves and they start looking. Everybody starts looking for what they could have done, and it's not useful. And I don't know to what extent this drug addiction played a role, to what extent this overdose was intentional or unintentional, to what extent this overlaps with mental health treatment or any kind of mental health problems. I don't know if there were any or not, but I mean, it sounds to me like people are mad at Ariana Grande because they saw her out stunting on Instagram, and then her ex of 6 years, who she kind of jilted, by dating somebody else immediately within days. They're mad at her because he killed himself, and they feel like she abandoned him when he needed her, which is bullshit. That's bullshit. It doesn't make any sense. It's bullshit. Because, I mean, first of all, we don't really know what the situation is. We know what they tell us, but they craft those statements with their professionals to say things like, with both of their busy schedules expanding and a new tour on the horizon, Ariana found that she and Mac were increasingly distant from one another and weren't able to make the schedules work, although she still has a high esteem for him and thinks of him as a close friend. So I just did that off the top of my head, but that's how they do it. You know what? So look, I can do it. Somebody come to me, make me do that. I will do your marketing if you pay me $100,000 a year, and it will be good marketing, and I will wear a blazer. Okay, but so we don't really know what's happening, obviously. We don't know... I don't know a ton about his drug use when he was with her, but the idea of people being mad at her is just ludicrous to me because it's just so misdirected, and it has nothing to do with, you know what bothers me about it? I get it. It is so misdirected, and it has nothing to do with suicide itself. And it drives me fucking nuts, because the issue in this situation is not she shouldn't have broken up with him and left him alone, but why is suicide such an issue in our country? Or drug use? Or what about the music industry fosters this kind of environment? Or whatever it is. I don't know what it is exactly, but whatever. Because it is a socially complicated issue in terms of like, how do we solve suicide ? Like, what does that mean? And I think it's just a thing that's too confusing and too upsetting and too foreign for people to grasp without feeling overwhelmed by their emotion and darkness. And to me, I think to myself, I'm not afraid of it. I'm going to look it in the eyes because it's happened so many times. I don't give a fuck. I will do what I need to do to talk. I talk about it because... And again, and I say this all the time, but I talk about it because it normalizes communication. And so that way, if people know that I'm open talking about suicide and it's, not necessarily casual to me, but that I do not have immediate negative judgment about it. Like, oh my God, that's so horrible. I feel like I offer myself as more available to people that I know who, if they had those thoughts, maybe could at least have a general understanding that possibly I would not immediately turn them into the police and put them in handcuffs and narc them out to their teacher or whatever the case may be, but that I would talk to them about it. So I guess what I'm saying is that I think that talking about her role in the situation downplays the importance of suicide in the public eye and the relationship that we have to dealing with it. So I think that it avoids the question. It avoids the issue. I don't think I would call it a question or an issue, though. It avoids the emotional complexity of learning to offer resources to people who die of suicide. So I guess that's my take on it, because I think of it in terms of like, because it's happened so much in my life, it's something that I care about deeply, and it's something that often is affected by mental health. My first thought is like, what can I do? How can I fix it? And, of course, sometimes there's nothing you can do, but I know that it's not blaming a tiny woman who probably dealt with him being on and off drugs for 6 years while he was still making suicidal music, stuck with him through 6 years, and then he is still depressed to the point of suicide. She can't change him. She can't help him. She probably tried. She probably wasn't able to change it because he was struggling with himself and maybe needed to seek mental health treatment or whatever the case may be. But if you're that depressed that you're making full albums for years about suicide, she couldn't do shit. What was she going to do? She has a lollipop. She can't refer him to a psychiatrist. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck can she do? She's not known for being socially conscious, to my knowledge, or she's not known for being able to guide a male into manhood and avoid suicide. Like, the fuck is she supposed to know about this shit? And I guess the reason why I am so sensitive about this is because it happens a lot. And when my father died, my mother was blamed by people who didn't know the situation because all they know is like all of a sudden they're, like his side of the family, all of a sudden they're grieving a bunch and, he went AWOL and they're trying to figure out where he was and they're like, oh my God, you should have done something. But they don't know, all the steps that she went through, that kind of thing. So the reason why it bothers me so much when people avoid addressing the actual exigence for suicide, because that's what it is. It's a mystery. It's like what triggers it or what causes it. We don't know. And that's what makes it so scary. What causes it? We can make guesses. We can talk about factors. We can say what we see in most people who committed suicide, but we don't know. And that's why it sucks to think about because we don't know. And so it's scary. And so then out of fear, we start blaming it on the people who are most emotionally affected by this. Which is like, you don't even fucking know this bitch. Don't try to say, ooh, she fucking left him when he needed her. How about she stayed with a drug addict for 6 years? She stuck by him until she couldn't stand it anymore because he had been talking about suicide constantly for years and she couldn't make any difference. So she got out of the relationship in order to maybe have her life back. Even though she ultimately was in love with him, she couldn't fix him and she had to deal with the reality that he wasn't going to change. And then he dies and she's like, fuck. This sucks. And that's what being an adult is. So, Pete Davidson and Ariana Grande breaking up. Who cares? Suicide is bad. Oh, man. Do you think I feel like this was supposed to be, I wonder if this person intended the question to be like a fun, light question about celebs, or if they knew that it was about suicide, so they were asking me for my thoughts on that. Maybe it was that because I didn't know the situation beforehand, so I thought it was like a cute celeb question. So I was like, ooh, what a light question we'll have this week. And it's like, no, let the death bells toll. I will carry the coffin to the grave, and I will mourn with ye. I shall go to the Wailing Wall and wear my shroud of darkness until I evaporate into the shadows. Well, that was the motherfucking question, and this is It's Lainie, and that is me, and this is my butthole. Take a look into it, gaze into it. You know what's on the other side? Alice in Wonderland. She's stuck in there. She's been there for years. She keeps getting tiny and then big again, so it's stretchy, and that's why my poops is weird. Okay, well, thank you for listening. Tell your friends about the podcast. Honestly, after this episode, I don't know why you would, but it is really fun, and it's been really rewarding for me to make this, so the best thing you can do for us, and I beg of you, please, rate us 5 stars on iTunes. And, if you have it in your soul, write a comment because I really would love to hear what you like about the show and what you don't like, because it's really important to me that usually when I do shows, I interact with the audience. And so it's kind of hard for me to not have an audience in front of me. So I welcome, the way people think about it. But also if you're a dick, then just don't bother. But please, please, please rate us 5 stars on iTunes. And I love you. This week you can find me at, this month, I don't know, whatever time it is in space. I don't know. Do we go to heaven? Mattresses, they're good for you. All right. Well, this week you can find me at the Love Below Comedy Show on Thursday, November 15th. Back Room Comedy on Friday, November 16th. And I highly recommend, and also have free tickets if you want to hit me up so you can attend this. I highly recommend the Roast Show Afterthoughts at Laugh Factory on Friday, November 16th. And they don't pay me to say that, but I just, man, it's not every day that you get to see a roast, and it's not every day that you get to see people write roasts on the spot. and it's a ton of fun. So run by Carly Kane and Kristen Fenchek. Check that out on November 16th. Hit me up if you want free tickets. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Lainie Leonards, and you can support my Patreon as well. Let me know if the show is worth something to you. And because I do my best, but I honestly have no idea. So until next time, keep it tight, cowgirl. This rodeo ain't over yet. See you next week.